So, what do you want to talk about? Look, let me start with a quick story, because the introduction was great, but this is the second time I come back from retirement for President Trump. My wife's still pissed off, and so after the election, I was Donald Trump's first pick, which was a great honor. I was out to dinner with my wife, and my phone was sitting on the table, and it rang, and it says POTUS. My wife looks at me and goes, shit. Because I was doing pretty good in the private sector. And so I went outside and took the phone call, and President Trump said, Tom, you've been bitching about it for 4 years. You want to come fix it? So I said, yep. Came back, and my wife says, well, what's going on? I said, well, all the remodeling stops. We're broke again. But God bless her, she's all for it. I mean, it's my greatest honor to work for the greatest president in my lifetime, Donald Trump. So later that night, my wife asked me, was I excited about going back? I said, certainly. Because she knew that every day for the last 4 years, I woke up every day pissed off of what the Biden administration did to the most secure border this nation ever had. And we handed them the most secure border in the history of the nation. And they unsecured it on purpose. I mean, I worked for 6 presidents starting with Ronald Reagan. Every president I ever worked for, including Clinton and Obama, took some steps to try to secure the border, because they understood you can't have strong national security if you don't have border security. For God's sake, we didn't know who's coming in, what's coming in, where it's coming in, why it's coming in, all those things. And every day I woke up pissed off, because I knew, based on my 4 decades of doing this, I knew that how many children died last night crossing the border, how many women got sexually assaulted, how many no-inspected terrorists got in, how many more Americans died from fentanyl coming across that open border. So every day I woke up pissed off, because in my 40 years I've seen a lot of terrible, terrible things in my career. Things that, still, some nights, I still have nightmares about it. I've seen a lot of death on that border. I've stood in the back of the trailer with 19 dead aliens who baked to death, including a 5-year-old little boy. I've talked to little girls as young as 9, who, when you get on your knees and talk to them, everything innocent and pure has been ripped from her, because she got raped by multiple members of the cartel. It's just, every day I woke up, and that's what I thought of, how many people died today. And so I didn't hesitate to say yes to that question, because I knew we would secure the border quickly, and we will save lives by doing it. Secure border saves lives. And I go up on the Hill all the time. I love talking to Republicans. I like talking to Democrats more, because I know that I piss them off by my near presence. And I don't give a shit what people think about me. I've stopped caring about that a long time ago. I just about every morning I read a hit piece on me, and I thank them for that, because I'm old. I get tired, but when I read a hit piece, I'm ready to go. So it's like pouring gas on my fire. Anyways, I always ask a Democratic congressperson, well, what is the downside on a secure border? What's the downside? What's the downside unless women getting raped? What's the downside unless children dying? What's the downside unless fentanyl coming across killing Americans? What's the downside in the cartels making billions of dollars less? What's the downside unless sex trafficking? What's the downside? They can't give you a downside. So what Joe Biden did, and Alejandro Mayorkas, who should be in jail, they unsecured the border on purpose. On purpose. This wasn't mismanagement. This wasn't incompetence. This is by design. Because they knew it. Alejandro Mayorkas was Deputy Secretary of Homeland Security under Obama. Joe Biden was Vice President. We had a family surge during Obama. How did we stop it? We built facilities, detention. We made them see a judge. We held them long enough to see a judge, which took about 35, 40 days, and we sent them home because 90% lost the case because they simply don't qualify for asylum. They knew how we fixed it under Obama. What did they do? Now that he's president, Alejandro Mayorkas, who became the worst Secretary of Homeland Security in the history of Homeland Security, they did the complete opposite. Where they weren't detaining him, they didn't make him see a judge, and they weren't removing anybody. ICE had the lowest number of removals in the history of the agency. At the same time, he had unprecedented illegal immigration on the border. So they knew exactly what they're doing. If everybody asked, why would they do such a thing? I have no idea. The only thing I can think of, they saw a future political benefit on doing it. They thought millions of people coming to the country are going to be future Democratic voters, maybe. But I see it deeper than that. When he signed over 90 executive orders killing everything we created to give us the most secure border ever, he also overturned the Trump census rule, which means millions of people they release in the sanctuary cities will be counted in the next census, which equals what? More seats in the House for the Dems. They sold this country out for future political power. And to me, that's treasonous. So where are we at? On that same phone call after I said yes, he goes, you got 3 things I need you to do. Because I want you to secure the border. Okay? I want you to run the largest deportation operation this country's ever seen. Okay? And I want you to find 300,000 missing children. Right? So where are we at? As I'm talking to you right now, we have the most secure border in the history of this country. In the history of this country. Even better than Trump 45. I mean, illegal immigration is down 96%. You know, under Joe Biden, let me put in perspective. Under Joe Biden, on an average day, we had 9,000 to 13,000 on the high end. So let's just use the number 10,000. 10,000 a day. You know what it was yesterday? 98. 10,000 to 98. You know what? All those 98, how many released? 0. What happened to the 98? Turned around, go home. Number of gotaways, which is my biggest concern, right? Under average day under Joe Biden, 1,800 gotaways. That's the average. 1,800 people crossed the border. They weren't arrested. They weren't fingerprinted. They weren't vetted. They got away. We don't know who they are, where they came from, why they're here. 1,800 a day. Yesterday was 18. 18 too many. But what a difference. This administration is going to be the first administration that obtains 100% operational control of our border. It's coming. And of course, sex trafficking is down over half of the interior, but sex trafficking across the United States border is non-existent. We stopped it. I mean, when 95 people are coming across, it's hard for any sex trafficking organization to operate. We're taking money out of the cartel's hands every day, and that just makes me happy. So we have the most secure border. Border's down 96%. Northern border, we're down about 91%. But the numbers on northern border are scratched compared to southern border. But I grew up on the northern border. I still have a lake house up on the northern border, where 1,000 protesters showed up last month. Like I give a shit. We're going to protest your empty house. Well, have at it. You morons. Anyways, doing a great job. The men and women of the United States Border Patrol have done a tremendous job, so God bless the men and women of Border Patrol. I'm in competition. So how are we doing with the deportation operation? So let me tell you where we're at with the deportation operation. Is that a protester or someone just not doing shit? Can I tell you what? You know, I tell you, I wake up every day pissed off. I was pissed off when I drove here today because there wasn't any protesters. I'm going, what the hell? My detail team, my security detail will tell you, I actually get upset. If there's not protesters, I'm upset because when I see protesters yelling and screaming, I say, okay, well, I'm over the target. I'm making a difference, and people are hearing what I got to say, so I appreciate it. So the deportation operation, right now we're arresting about 3 times as many criminal aliens as Joe Biden ever thought of. We're down, I looked at the numbers this morning, we're just shy of 130,000 illegal aliens arrested in the interior United States by ICE, and the vast majority of them being public safety threats or national security threats. We're doing exactly what President Trump promised. We're going to do the worst first, and we're doing that. However, the media's been hitting me up lately. Well, Homan's lying. They're not arresting just criminals and public safety threats. They're arresting non-criminals. What they're afraid to tell you is, yeah, they're in the country illegally, so they're on the table too. So I was with the president yesterday during the big, beautiful bill ceremony at the White House, and he made a mistake and let me to the microphone. We need that big, beautiful bill passed. Come listen to me. I'm telling you right now, they pass that bill, we're going to have more money than we ever had to do immigration enforcement. You think we're arresting people now? You wait till we get the funding to do what we got to do. And so when we get that funding, we can put more agents on the field, right? Because we need the money. It's going to help us hire more contract help. So there shouldn't be a badge and a gun sitting at a desk doing keystrokes with some administrative duty. That should be a contractor. The badge and gun needs to be on the street looking for those national security threats and public safety threats. So that's going to give us more boots on the ground. It's going to give us more beds. This morning I looked at the beds. We got about 1,400 empty beds. 1,400. We'll fill them by tomorrow. So we're playing this chess game. We got to move people out and put people in. No, we need 100,000 beds so I can fill 100,000 beds, and we're going to move them as fast as we can. But we need more beds so we don't. In the morning we say, okay, well, we only got this many beds, so let's only arrest this many people. No, we should be coming to work every day saying, get everybody you can get, and we got the bed waiting. That's where we need to get to. The third thing, and I was honest with everybody from day one. The third one, finding 300,000 missing kids. I said from day one, we're going to work at this until we get it done, but it's going to be the most difficult thing to do. And here's why. Because the last administration, as incompetent as they were, as inhumane as they were, they released many of these children to unvetted sponsors. Many of these sponsors weren't fingerprinted, their identifications weren't checked. We're going out looking for this information now, and what's the address sponsor gave? It's a parking lot. It's a movie theater. There was no proper vetting done by them. There was no DNA testing done. On the Trump administration, we did DNA testing. We made sure that child was a part of that mother's actually the mother. The father is actually the father. They stopped it. When we did a pilot program on the Trump 45, we found that up to 30% of the families weren't even families. We knew that many of these kids, through HSI investigation, would be rented by the cartels, given to a single man, crossed as a family, they'll get released, the child goes back, gets re-rented again. Who knows what the hell happened to that child during those times? But we're all over it. So here's the issue. Children don't have a digital footprint like we all do, right? You own a car, you own a home, you got credit cards, we can find you. Children don't have that digital footprint. You got to count on a digital footprint of the sponsors. If they weren't collecting good information, they weren't vetting, that information is really bad. We already found over 10,000. And like I said, some of these children With family, perfectly safe. Good. Now they'll deal with the immigration consequences. But some of these children were in sex trafficking, some were in forced labor. And that's a nightmare. But we're going to take care of these kids. We're not going to rest till every unaccounted child is found and accounted for and make sure they're safe. I saw one yesterday where with one man got 26 children. How the hell you do that? I mean, didn't somebody say, what the hell is this about? It's disgusting. And someone needs to be held accountable. So God bless Pam Bondi. And Cash Patel. So I was out in LA 2 weeks ago stirring it up, and I want to make one thing clear. I was there to start off an operation. The whole LA riots, here's what you're not reading in paper. You know what this started over? It wasn't an immigration raid. We were serving 3 criminal arrest warrants, search warrants issued by a judge as part of a criminal investigation into money laundering, tax evasion, and customs fraud in the millions of dollars. So we're serving search warrants. That's what they started raising hell about. But immediately want you to believe we're over there looking for people different than us, doing this mass immigration raid without proper authorization, without proper legal authority. It's just garbage. And what happened in LA, you know, I was the first 2 nights I was there, protests got a hand, the protesters quickly become criminals. And thank God President Trump deployed the National Guard to Los Angeles. And as I said for the last several months, you can hate ICE, you can hate me, I don't give a shit. You cannot like President Trump, you cannot agree with our priorities, but you better not cross that line. And of course, when I say cross the line, you can't impede our enforcement efforts. That's a felony. And we will prosecute. You cannot put your hands on an ICE officer. We will prosecute. And you can't knowingly harbor and conceal an illegal alien away from ICE. That's a felony. When I was an agent, I started, like I said, back in 1984. When I was an agent, I've arrested U.S. citizens for knowingly harboring, concealing an alien in their home, in their place of business, and I prosecuted them. Politicians aren't above the law. For 4 years, they were complaining, no one's above the law, President Trump isn't above the law, President Trump isn't above the law, and all of a sudden they want to be above the law. That's why we're prosecuting 2 judges, we're prosecuting a member of Congress, we're prosecuting a lot of people. You can't cross the line. Someone did an interview, someone came to my White House office the other day to interview, and he says, and it was a decent interview, the interview goes, well, does it concern you that when the Democrats get back in power, that you'll be criminally prosecuted for the atrocities you've done under Trump 47? I looked at him and says, no. And he sat there with his pen looking, and I says, anything else? He goes, you want to explain? I says, no. I'm enforcing the laws enacted by Congress and signed by a president. We're enforcing the law. Unlike the last administration who not ignored the law, they violated the law. I'm enforcing the law. If you don't like what I'm doing, tell Congress to change the law. Until they change the law, I'm going to keep enforcing the law. Until they change the term illegal alien, I will keep using the term illegal alien. I was in New York City 2 weeks ago, and I was advised it's illegal in New York City to use the term illegal alien. I said, really? Illegal alien, illegal alien, illegal alien, illegal alien. I don't care. Sanctuary cities. They're pissing me off. I'm going to make something sure you all understand. Sanctuary cities are sanctuaries for criminals. That's what they are. Sanctuary cities means ICE can't go into a taxpayer-funded jail to talk to somebody that's in the country illegally. What happens in jail, when you get arrested, you get fingerprinted, and your fingerprints get run through NCIC. Endless. When they run against NCIC, automatically run against DHS databases, so we'll get a notice. Tom Homan, illegal alien, was priorly removed, just got booked in a Homan County jail for whatever crime. He's there now. And we go through our DHS records. Yeah, Tom Homan, he's got an immigration record. Yeah, he's illegal in the United States. We deport him. We send a detainer. We want to talk to him when you're done with him. And they say no. They're going, if they don't care what he's arrested for, they'll release him back in the street rather than give him to us. So that's what Sanctuary City is, right? So Sanctuary Cities, that's why President Trump, amazing, said 2 weeks ago, we're going to triple down on Sanctuary Cities. So Sanctuary Cities are going to get exactly what they don't want. Like, you know, they're screaming, oh, they're in here arresting non-criminals. Yeah. Where we arrest those non-criminals, we arrest them when we find the target, the criminal alien you released. I told Sanctuary City, I said, well, you're going to get exactly what you don't want. If we can't arrest a bad guy in the safety and security of a county jail, which is safer for the officer, safer for the alien, certainly safer for the community, you're going to release him in the community? Fine. I'm going to send a whole team in the community to look for him. And when we find him, many times he's with others. Others that aren't a criminal threat, but they're in the country illegally. Well, guess what? They're coming too. So you're going to get what you don't want. You're going to get more agents in the streets, more collateral arrests, and not on top of that, we can't find them in the community, then we're going to triple down on worksite enforcement. We're going to find them. So more agents in the streets, more agents in worksite. I don't have a problem with that. And that's exactly what you're going to get. So they're all screaming and yelling, a number of ICE arrests are non-criminal. A lot of that's because of sanctuary cities. But I'm not backing down from a simple illegal alien. Being in this country illegally is not okay, and you're not off the table. Make that clear. We prioritize public safety threats and national security threats, but it doesn't mean we forget about everybody else. We're going to enforce the immigration laws in this country without apology. So bitch and complain all you want. I don't care. We're going to do the job. The men and women of ICE right now, assaults against men and women of ICE up over 500%. Disgusting. All of a sudden, I grew up in a family full of cops. My grandfather's a cop, my dad was a cop. I always knew I was going to be a cop. When I grew up, people respected cops. And we're in a position now where the men and women of ICE are being vilified, slandered by members of Congress, comparing to the Nazis and the racists. And it's just, I can't believe that we're at a point where those who enforce the law are the bad guys and those who broke the law are the victims. Bullshit. If I offend anybody in my language, I'm sorry, but I know I'm not. I'm not. I get irritated because all of us, I'm looking across the audience, you're all around my age, maybe a little younger, but remember the country where everybody flew American flag on the porch and everybody respected cops, everybody showed up, and that's the country President Trump wants to come back, and he's working hard at it. And look, the hits on President Trump come, you know, he asked me the other day how many death threats you got, and I told him, he said, I got you beat. Let me tell you something about President Trump. I don't need to tell you this. I've spent many, many hours with this man, either on Air Force One, in the Oval Office, or at Mar-a-Lago, whatever. Not only now, but the 4 years when Biden was president, I was with him many, many times. And I was certainly with him in his first Trump 45. I respect this man as much as I do my own father. This man loves this country. And it makes me sick when I see, you know, he's a racist. It's just incredible. He loves this country. He loves people. He simply wants to make this country great again. He wants to make this country safe again. And that's what he comes to work. When I get in the White House, he's already there. When I leave, he's still there. The man works amazing hours. He loves this country, and I respect him so much. Is he perfect? No. If you want the president to be perfect, you better wait for the second coming of Jesus, because I never met a perfect man in my life. But he's the greatest president of my lifetime. I worked for 6 of them. No one did it better than he did. Matter of fact, no one even came close to success on the border. Unprecedented success. Look, my clock's up. I got to run. I was asked yesterday, I was at the White House, says, are you growing a beard? I says, no. I'm too busy to shave. So, look, I appreciate, I always start my speech right. If I offend anybody today, I don't give a shit, but I knew coming to this audience, I wouldn't offend anybody. I appreciate you all being here. I appreciate the stance you take. I appreciate your love of this country. Thank you. So let me end with this. I appreciate it. I should walk off the stage right now, right? Yeah? Tom Homan isn't going anywhere. For all the haters out there and to the media who want to try to hit peace on me, say what you want. I don't care. No one's going to shut me up. I'm not going anywhere. We're going to force the immigration law without apology. I wake up every day like a kid in a candy store. I work for the greatest president of my lifetime. I love my job. The best job I ever had. And I'll be around for a while.